What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. This is Supergirl Season 2, Episode 2, The Last Children of Krypton. And this is a good second episode. It continues on where it left off with Clark is still in National City, he's still hanging out. We see Metallo come into being and sort of start attacking people right before it seems like Clark's about to leave, so perfect timing, but it's very interesting in that it builds up good story, and there's good intensity in it too. Last season, I felt like the intensity was never really there. There are no moments where I'm just like, holy crap, I can't wait to see what happens next. This season has actually done it so far. There have been moments where I'm just like, this is actually kind of intense. Like, I'm not like The Flash intense, or at some points Arrow intense, where I'm sitting on the edge of my seat like, what's about to happen next? But yet, I'm still at a moment where I'm just like, this is actually exciting. I'm actually enjoying this. So I do think they've done a good job in upping the action specifically. I mean, that is one thing that had become so much better. The scenes with Alex in the first two episodes so far, where she's fighting other guys, is just really good action, really good fighting. The fighting with Supergirl and Superman with the superpowered beings right now, they feel more realistic than they did in the first season. Like, the hits feel more powerful. They look like they're actually in their environment instead of you just see like a fake little person flying across the screen. Like, oh, that's obviously CGI. A lot of these feel a lot more realistic. And I feel like part of that is because the CW knows how to do superpower stuff a bit better than CBS, maybe. Like, Arrow and The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow all feel very realistic whenever you're watching them. So I think that's really helped it. And I feel like they're doing the characters a lot better as well. I mean, you've got so much chemistry between some of these characters now. It actually makes me sad that Cat Grant is leaving the show. Like, in the first season, if she had left for a few episodes, I would have been like, oh, okay. She's kind of a jerk at times, but I guess she's okay. I'll miss her a little bit. She's leaving. I'm actually kind of heartbroken because in these first two episodes, they built up such great chemistry between her and Kara. And even in the few minutes between her and Supergirl in this one, there's so much chemistry there. And I'm just like, how did you do that the entire first season did not manage to do? There was a moment near the end where I'm just like, okay, yeah, now I understand why Kara looks up to her so much. But for a majority of the season, I'm just like, why? She's such a jerk to you. Why would you even care about her? So I think they've done that very well. Let's see. I'm trying to actually talk about the entire episode, not just hit points. So we have a moment where Cadmus realizes that Alex is tracking the guy that stole the kryptonite. So they set up an ambush for her. The lady behind Cadmus, I assume we're going to find out her name at some point. I don't think we know it yet, but she tells Alex, your father says hello. Or no, I'll tell your father you say hello. And then tries to recruit. Ignore that, that's the cat. She tries to recruit Alex into Cadmus. And of course, Alex, being pretty much Supergirl's sister, says, no. So, she fights them off, and then Supergirl steps in, saves the day, and sort of apologizes to her about what happened between them earlier, because there was a moment where it's just kind of like, I felt like, why is Kara acting this way? Because it didn't feel realistic. She loves Alex. That's been proven many times. So it felt weird for her to all of a sudden blow up on her and start saying, only Superman knows how I feel, and just, it felt very out of character. But I feel like they remedied that because she did realize very quickly how wrong she was when she said all of that. So, while it didn't make sense to do it, at the same time, you did fix it quickly afterwards, so I can't complain too much. And, like I said, after that, they get into the fighting. They have Metallo and then another Metallo guy that... he's one of those henchmen that just questions too much, and you're just like, at some point, dude, you're gonna die. Like, you gotta realize, you keep questioning the leadership that's a psychopath, and yeah, they're gonna kill you. So he becomes another Metallo. They fight together against one guy and kind of stop him, but at the same time, like, he seriously wounds them. So they start to realize we need to work together with non-Kryptonite people, or non-Krypton people, to stop these guys. So Supergirl takes one in National City, and Superman takes one in Metropolis, I think. John Johns is with Superman, which is good to see them fighting together because it kind of helps them realize they need each other to help each other out. Supergirl works with, of course, Alex, mainly against the guy that she kind of had a little bit of a, like, I don't even know what to call it, but it's like they had sort of a connection somehow. Like I don't even know. It was such a weird moment where she's just, Superman flies off to stop the other guy. She sticks around for a second to like talk crap to him. I'm just like, this isn't Supergirl. Like, she's not the one to talk crap. What is this? And even whenever they come back, she meets him again. They start to fight. He tries to use his kryptonite thing, but when built like a little protection shield, she blocks it and then knocks him on the ground. She's like, now comes the part where I punch your face. I'm just like, this doesn't feel like Supergirl right now. Like, she would say something, but that just seemed, one, it seemed incredibly cheesy, more cheesy than usual, because I'm used to some cheese. It's Supergirl. There's gonna be some cheese, but it also seemed like way too serious for that moment. Like, the way she said it was just way too serious for Supergirl. I don't know. It's the one thing out of this entire episode that just stood out to me as like, that felt completely wrong. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea to put that in there, but whatever. It's the one complaint I have. They need to make it to where Supergirl's not so serious at these times. And I don't mind there being some seriousness in the show. Like, whenever Superman saw John Johns and had the argument with him about kryptonite, that felt like a good serious moment. It felt needed. Whenever Supergirl finally worked with Alex, took down the Metallo, she looked into his eyes knowing they could probably see her and said, can you hear me? This isn't over. That felt like a needed serious moment. And it didn't feel too serious for Supergirl. It felt like a moment that would actually happen. So I feel like there are moments where, yes, you need seriousness, but don't get too serious like in those moments with Supergirl and Metallo, because then you just sort of lose some of the fun and charm of this show. Like, that's the one thing that I hope they sort of stick to as the season goes on. But as the episode ends, we start to see some stuff like Clark goes back to Metropolis because obviously he's got to be Clark Kent too, which I still think he's a great Clark Kent. Superman, maybe as the season goes on, we see more of him. Maybe he'll start to become a better Superman. But right now, watching him be Clark Kent is just the picture-perfect idea of Clark Kent that I have in my mind. But he goes back, and of course, Perry White is all over him because he's been gone. We see Jimmy is getting Cat Grant's job, which is interesting because, one, we see a little bit of interaction between him and Kara because she thinks, oh, are you leaving? Is it because of me? And he's just like, no, I get Cat Grant's job. Isn't that great? She's like, yeah. And it's not awkward either because it shouldn't be. They're two really good friends that just shouldn't be in a romantic relationship. Like, that's how it should be. And I'm glad the show is doing that. Like, that is one thing they fixed from the first season that I think fixes the entire show. Because these two do not belong together. I don't care that he's extremely handsome and she's really pretty. They don't work. That you need to have chemistry to work, and they don't have that kind of chemistry. You feel like they're good friends, but you don't ever see them actually hooking up. At least I don't. Maybe some other people are like, oh yeah, they totally belong together. I don't see it. I feel like he's way too, like, suave, charming, just really... He's not the Jimmy I know. The Jimmy from the comics, the red hair, pasty face, kid with a camera, that Jimmy may work better with Kara in this show, but this Jimmy is just way too cool. He's way too just down to earth. I don't even know how to say it. Kara is just so hyperactive, really excitable, almost like a little kid at times. I feel like it just wouldn't work out between them in real life. So I'm glad the show's taking this route on it, making them really good friends instead of putting them together. Maybe they'll go back on that and actually put them together, and I'm going to hate the show again, but anyway. But of course it ends on kind of cliffhanger because Kara's talking to the Kryptonian that's in coma. And of course, as she's talking to him, saying, I'm going to be here whenever you wake up, so you won't be alone on this earth, he wakes up and starts choking her to death. So that's how this episode leaves off. But like I said, this episode is a really good one. It really furthers the story. It brings more good stuff into the show that I think the first season lacked a lot of. So it's nice to see that they are fixing some mistakes from the first season. They are bringing in some good effects, good chemistry, and characters into the show that are really needed. And not completely erasing the first season either. Like, that is one thing that going into it, I was worried that they might try to do, is just say, okay, the first season didn't happen at all. But they are using stuff from the first season into this show. They're still bringing stuff into it. They're still doing stuff that I feel like is a continuation of the first season, but they're doing it better than the first season did it. And I think that's the important thing here. So, long story short, good episode. It makes me excited for the rest of the season. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you like and dislike about that episode? Let me know. We can talk about, discuss, all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Supergirl reviews, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.